and Beyond the Dirt. Now, change the name to my live stream a little bit. Instead of just being Patty's Aquatics Live, I figured why not have a name for it. I really didn't think I would really be into the live streams for sure. I wasn't sure, so I really didn't want to make a name for it till now. And well, the idea of it came really from my brother-in-law and my wife. I couldn't think of anything really good that I wanted to name it besides maybe the dirt. And my brother-in-law came up with Beyond the Tank, which I thought was kind of cool. And then my wife also thought of more than just dirt, and it just kind of clicked, Beyond the Dirt. So that's where it's at. So good morning. Good morning, Brenton. Good morning, David. Good to see you guys here. So today I've got a few things on the docket I'd like to talk about. First, with my live stream, I have a few guests coming up scheduled in the next few weeks. Hello, NC. If you haven't seen my live stream from 2 weeks ago with Father Fish, that was very cool, very interesting experience to be able to sit down with him and be able to talk about all the cool methods and things that he deals with. And I felt like I asked him some good questions to maybe help people understand it a little more. And then with his blessing, I'm able to create 4 actual videos out of that live stream. And the first one will be coming out on Friday, and that's going to be about his method itself, what the Father Fish method is. So that's that. But I also got other guests lined up. In 2 weeks, I have Andrew from the Dirty Tank coming on, so that'll be kind of cool to talk to him and see his story. And then on the 27th, I have Mike from M&C Aquatics coming on, talking to him. And I have a few other people I'm talking to, but if you are interested in coming on to be a guest on my live stream here and tell me your story, your journey in this hobby, whether you're a creator or you're just a hobbyist, let me know. Patty's Aquatics at Gmail. That email will be in my description of my channel there. You can find it there. Or you can hit me up on Facebook on Messenger or even on Instagram on Messenger. And I have links to both of those in the description of my channel. So a lot of cool things. I have a lot of cool ideas for these live streams, especially with guests. I'd love to have, like I said, local hobbyists. If you're a breeder or you just have a cool story that you want to come on and share and show me your fish room and show me what you're breeding and what you're doing, maybe even local fish store owners. If you have a store that you sell fish out of and you want to showcase your store a little bit here and on my live stream and show it to everybody, I think that'd be cool. So, morning, Jim's Fish. How's it going? All right. NC, yes, I just got your email. You'll take the 13th. All right. So next week, I'll have NC's Pleco Cavers in here, and that'll be interesting conversation as well. Thank you. Thank you very much. I look forward to that. So that's the plans for the future. Like I said, I enjoy doing these live streams. It's still a little awkward, so to speak, when I'm sitting here by myself talking to you guys through the phone. I find it more enjoyable to have a guest on as well, be able to hear their stories and be able to interact because, I mean, I love talking about fish in this hobby quite a bit, so it's easy to do. So that being said, what are we doing today? Today, I have 2 topics on hand on this first episode of Beyond the Dirt. The first one of them is basically I want to talk when it's aquarium related, and that is, can you use meds in a natural tank? And really, are there situations where it is warranted? Now, I want to talk about that a little later, but first I want to talk about something a little bit more that's a little closer to my heart and my life right now within my family, and that is, if you haven't seen my post, it is October. That means it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I did start a fundraiser for the National Breast Cancer Foundation. They're a great nonprofit organization that helps out any women or that are currently dealing with breast cancer, and they do a lot of good things for them in that community. So I want to do what I can to help them out. Now, why am I starting this fundraiser for this? It's because I well, my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer back in May. And this has been a very different journey this summer, I'll say that. And I kind of want to tell my story a little bit. And I want to tell my story of how our family has dealt with this to maybe spread some hope with this and maybe some understanding of why I really am starting this fundraiser for this. Um, Basically, back in May, my wife was scheduled for her mammograms, and I think she had one that week. And she was doing a self check, and she found a lump, and that was one of those situations where I really didn't think there was anything more to it. There really probably wasn't anything, but she obviously was concerned and wanted to call the doctor about it, which rightfully you should. And she went in for a biopsy on that Friday. Now, she had that biopsy, and then they tell you, I think it was like you weren't going to hear the results until the middle of the next week, which is a long time for someone to sit there and stew and worry about what the results might be. Well, the day we found out, I'll never forget it, it was a Monday. We were chaperoning our daughter at a field trip at the Milwaukee County Zoo. We were driving back in our own car because we decided not to drive with all the kids. And she got that phone call. She got the phone call from the clinic, and she asked me, should I answer it? And I told her yes, because then, you can get this off your chest. I don't think it's anything. You're fine. She answered that phone call, and that's pretty much that one phone call changed our lives. That one phone call, hearing the results, and that one scary word, that word that resonates with so many people with fear, that cancer word that came into our lives that day. And it was probably, I can only speak for myself, but it was probably one of the most stressful, fearful day or two after that I've ever had in my life. The unknown of not knowing really what was going on. And like I said, it was very scary. And that's because, well, you find out this information that she has this, but then you got to wait days to be able to see a doctor. So we had to wait until, I believe it was Wednesday or Thursday of that week, before we finally went and spoke with a surgeon. And then that's where a little bit of our nerves were calmed a little bit, because we found out that she did catch it early. Her pre-screening and her self-checking caught it early, which was a good thing. So it was very small. And then they gave us the options of what she wanted to do. And, it was one of those situations where preventative screening and checking really can save and make a difference when it comes to really any cancers, but like breast cancer as well. So she wound up having her surgery in July. Um, I did put a post out on YouTube around that time, just for, 'cause I don't really talk about it on here, because I don't know, I just don't. I don't. But I put the post on there because I wanted some thoughts and prayers for my wife while she was in surgery, to calm my own nerves. But it was also very cool that after she was out later that night, when she was more like into it, I can say, hey, I said, I put a post on YouTube, and there were people praying and thinking about you from all over the world. And that little bit of hope maybe didn't help much, but it was something. It was something to make her think that, people are thinking. And I think that's a big and important thing. So she had her surgery, and it was successful. And it was a long recovery process. It's not like you can just have surgery and go right back to work the next day. You're in a lot of pain, and it's a lot of discomfort, a lot of doctor's appointments. And I mean, she's a trooper. She's a champ. Like, I'm very, very proud of her. And I know I myself am a baby when it comes to pain and stuff like that. I would not have been able to handle it the way she handles it to this day. So I am grateful that she's able to do that. And the support we all have to give her is very important as well. And then she got through that recovery process. And then now we're on to where we are today. She's in the middle of her radiation treatments. She has, I think, about 6 days left of it or so. And, it's very weird because you can go through the process of this whole disease from first learning about it, and then that initial scare and that initial um, just fear and everything that comes with it. Then you get that little lull because you don't forget about it. It's always there, but it's just like you kind of try to get back to normal life, but you can never really get back to normal life because it's always there. That C word is always there. It's always looming over you, the thought of the unknown, because of what it could be. And from getting from all the steps from initial finding out to the surgery and all the radiation, it has been a very difficult and life altering experience. Now, after she's done with radiation, then she's got to go into her areas because was a hormonal tumor. She's got to go into basically shots and medications, probably for, I don't know, close to probably the rest of her life. And it's going to be another difficult process to go down through. It's all part of this, but it just shows really the importance of pre-screening and just doing the things you're supposed to do to make sure you keep on top of them. And that doesn't just include breast cancer as well. That could really be any cancer for that matter. Like for myself, I have colon cancer runs in my family, and I'm going to be turning 50 in 2 weeks. So I've been putting it off for a few years now, but I'm going to get a colonoscopy in a couple weeks, or a few weeks. So I'm going to do my part too to make sure I stay on top of that stuff, because you need to do that for not only yourself, but their families and the ones that love you. So that leads us back to this fundraiser that I started. I started it on my Facebook page, and like I said, it's for the National Breast Cancer Foundation. I have the link for it on my YouTube and a comment on my YouTube channel. If you go to my community post on my channel, it'll be there. Or if you go to my description of my channel, I have a link to my Facebook. It'll also be on there if you're interested. And you could support this even without using finances, without financially supporting. You can just thoughts and prayers for people. You can encourage people to do those pre-screenings, whether it be a family member, a wife, a mother, a aunt, a sister. Just remind them that these things are very important, and they're very, very important because you can get it early. Like I said, if you can catch it early, it is very fundamental. And fundamental is not the right word, but you know what I mean. I don't know how to say it, but if it wasn't for my wife catching it when she did, it could have been a lot worse. And there's people that have it a lot worse than my wife. So I'm grateful, if you can be grateful for getting cancer, but I'm grateful for the way that she did get it, because it's not worst case scenario right now. Right now, it's looking very good. Beneficial is the word my wife just texted me. Thank you, dear. So it's very important, because knowing that there are a lot of people that have a lot worse off than we do, and it's very scary. And to be able to support people and give people hope is probably the most important thing someone can do in those situations. When she was diagnosed, there were so many people that came out of, I'm not going to say the woodwork, but they came out and she really never talked to before, that would start to give her story, that would give her hope and would give her encouragement. And I think that's great. And I think we all can do that to an extent. If we know somebody that might be dealing with this situation, just drop them an email or drop them a text and say, hey, I'm thinking about you. That goes a long way for people. And I can say for myself and the family and our family here, I try to be as attentive and understanding in these situations as I can, because it's very stressful for her. It's stressful, and it's very taxing on myself, just the thought of it, but I can't even speak for her. It's got to be tenfold. So, I just want to be there as best as I can for her in where she needs. And I think that's what we all can do. So if you can give to this fundraiser, I'd highly appreciate it. I have a goal of $500. If we make it, we make it. We don't, we don't. Like I said, any type of support towards this is huge for me, and I would greatly appreciate it. Now, I haven't put it on there, and I've been putting kind of in the back of my head thinking about it. I thought if we could reach this goal of $500, maybe I could do something that would completely embarrass myself to maybe get you guys to maybe want to throw a couple bucks at it. So I was thinking, and what could I do? Well, one thought was, maybe I could, if we reach that goal of $500, I'm going to shave my head, not just buzz it, but I'm going to shave it like Kojak, like Chris Stubbings from Stubbs Aquatics, like that kind of bald. Like maybe I'll do that. If we can reach the $500 goal that I set for that, I will buzz my head all the way down, shine it all up for you guys. Just an idea. Anyway, so that was the story of my family's journey with breast cancer here. And like I said, being October and being at Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I thought I'd kind of want to share a little bit of my story, or our family story of this. And beer too. Brenton, yeah, I guess I'll do the beer too if we can get to 500. I'll do it. My daughter will go nuts. I can probably hear her up there right now. She hates the way I look with my beard off. I don't take it off very often. But yes, I'll do not the eyebrows. I won't do that. But I'll do the whole head and beard. I'll have more hair in my body than I do on my head. Yes, Brent, I'll do the beard too. So if you guys want to help out with that fundraiser, I'll do this. I'll do it. So I appreciate everyone, and I appreciate all the kind words and support I've gotten through this. There's a few people that have really reached out to me during this. Chris Stubbings, like I mentioned before, from Stubbs Aquatics, he's reached out numerous times asking how my wife's doing and how we're doing. Maul from Aquarium Delirium, hey buddy. He's reached out numerous times as well, asking how we're doing. And then also Jesse from Sailing to Aquatics, he's reached out a few times as well. So I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate everyone. The fundraiser itself is running until October 19th. So it's 13 more days. That's when, so I think that's that Saturday before my live stream. So if October the 20th, that live stream I have on Sunday, if we reach that goal, I'll have my head shaved for that live stream and my beard. So that's what we're going to do. So if you can donate, I appreciate it. And like I said, I get it. Financially, not everyone can do that nor want to, and that's completely fine. I'm not pressuring anyone to anything. If you even want, like I said, support anyone any way you can, even if it's wearing pink one day or just thinking or thoughts of people that are maybe in that situation. And that's all. So thank you very much for that. So, all right, that was part of the breast cancer awareness stuff that I really wanted to talk about and kind of get off my chest a little bit. So next up, let's look at the chat. Let's see who's all here. Let's go back a little bit. All right. NC, yes, I did. So like again, NC Plecos Cavers will be on next weekend or next Sunday for me to be a guest on the show. I will send you an email to remind you, buddy. Tommy, welcome. Can you call it natural after that? No, I mean, you can call it whatever, but that doesn't mean it's true. All right, so we're at the bottom of the chat. All right, so let's talk a little bit then about the initial topic for today then as well. That is basically, can you add chemicals or medications to aquariums and call it natural aquariums? And are there situations that maybe warrant using it? So the reason I'm bringing this topic up is because I kind of ran into a situation myself where I put the video out on Friday. If you haven't seen it, I wound up finding planaria worms in one of my tanks, and they were everywhere. And there was no shrimp in that tank, but I had my Matano rice fish in there, which are a rare rice fish. And I have never seen any babies. Not that the planaria are eating them. I don't know that for certain because those Matano rice fish like to predate on their eggs and young. But I was never seeing any babies in there. So I was thinking maybe because there were so many of those planaria worms, maybe they were eating those eggs as well. So what I did, my idea is I was going to switch some of my tanks around. If you've seen in that video, I moved my Matano rice fish into where my guppies were, my 20 long. Then I put my swordtails that were in this 20 high into there because I figured I don't got shrimp in there. These are live bears. If there's planaria in there, it's really not going to hurt anything. Well, as I was moving them around, that's when I found crap loads of planaria in my white cloud minnow breeding tank, and then I found it in my other white cloud breeding mini tank, and then I found it up in my rainbow shiner tank. They were everywhere, and that got me a little concerned. My blue dream shrimp, which are in my rainbow shiner tank, I noticed the population was dwindling drastically and just didn't click until I saw those planaria. And there were quite a few of them, let me tell you. So it got me concerned. They must be eating some of those shrimp. Now, I haven't seen dead bodies or physically seen them eating them. So yes, the rainbow shiners are potentially maybe picking a couple off. I don't know, but the population of those shrimp bloomed in that tank with them in there. And so my guess was that those planaria are really starting to pick them off. So I did lots of research. Now, obviously, I run all dirted tanks, and I really, in the time being here, have really been trying not to use any type of chemicals, trying not to use any type of medications or anything within my aquariums. But I felt like this was warranted to maybe try something on these tanks. Now, I took it. I didn't make this decision lightly. I really, like I said in the video, I really struggled with it for a few days. I did a lot of research and tried to find ways to be able to remove these things without doing any of that. Now, what the reasonings are is, well, I breed shrimp. I breed them in just about all my tanks. I sell plants. I sell plants at swap meets a couple times a year and locally here once in a while. I don't want planaria or planaria eggs on these plants that I'm going to be, I don't want to sell that to people. I would be annoyed and upset if people sold it to me and introduced that to my tank. And like I said, I have some egg scattering fish, and these planaria are they're opportunistic. Like I said in the video, like I kind of posed that question: are they hunters or are they scavengers? Well, I think in the wild, that they are completely and utterly scavengers. There is such a big food source that there's things everywhere. They're mostly into the substrate, eating through the leaf litter and eating little organisms and stuff through there. But you get them into a home aquarium, and that food source isn't there for them anymore. So what are they then? They need to seek out food. They would seek out food like any other organism would. So like I said, I can't entirely blame them, but that's what they do. They're going to kill your shrimp. They're going to kill, I've heard of them about eating little fry once in a while. They'll kill some snails. And eat eggs of fish. Like I said, white cloud minnows, eggs, they drop their eggs to the bottom of the substrate. Rainbow shiners. I have rice fish in a couple of the tanks. You just don't know. So I wasn't comfortable with it. So I felt like I needed to try something. So what I did was, with a bunch of research, I seen there were traps. I really feel like traps just manage them. I really don't feel like they can be really eliminating them from your tank. If you have tanks that don't have shrimp or egg scattering fish, you don't sell plants. Yeah, so what? So be it. I don't really care, I guess, at that situation. But I felt like it really warranted it, what I did. So I had two ways of doing it. From the research I did, there was no planaria, and then there was Panicure C, which is a canine dog dewormer. Which, by the way, during my research, I have seen that it's been used for well over a decade for this. Now, they all say they're plant safe, shrimp safe, fish safe. And I went with Panicure C. Now, after this video is dropped and so many people told me no planaria was much better, hindsight is 2020. Yes, I could have went with that one, but this is the route I chose, so I did it. I used it, and it killed the planaria within 24 hours. I haven't seen one since. Now I'm going to have to retreat again, and probably like next weekend, probably, because if there's eggs within those tanks yet, that dog dewormer is not going to kill the eggs. So you have to retreat again. So that's the journey I went with it, and I felt like it was necessary. Now, is it ideal to do that in a natural tank? No, not at all. I mean, I don't want to do that. Like I said, if I had tanks that were different, that weren't carrying shrimp and I wasn't selling plants out of and things like that, it might be a little different. Then I wouldn't care, like I said. But situational, I think it's important, and I think it's up to every individual hobbyist what their thought process is on the situations. Now, what about internal parasites? You know, what if you have fish that get internal parasites, um, like worms and stuff like that? You know, yes, if you can physically remove the fish from the aquarium and treat them in a separate hospital tank, that's fine. But what if that's not possible? I had a tank probably about a year ago. Like I had guppies in the past. They were starting to waste away a little bit, and I was almost positive they had internal parasites. So I treated the tank. I treated the tank with I can't remember what medicine that was, but it fixed it of it, and I had to treat again in a couple of weeks after that. It's just it's sometimes it's a necessary need. We're not in the wild. We're not like I said, we don't have the robust, diverse ecosystems that they are in the wild compared to here in our tanks. As much as I love to be able to make it the same, it's not the same, and sometimes you have to intervene, unfortunately. Someone wrote in the comments of my video, the health of a tank is more important than keeping it natural. And I would agree with that 100%. But there's other ways too. Like I think Magnus from Green Machine Sweden's in here. Hello, buddy. The plants can be dipped into PP prior to sale. Yes, that is one way is prevention. Prevention. If you get plants ahead of time, because they're mostly going to be hitchhikers for the most part, if you prevent the stuff ahead of time by dipping them and quarantining your plants and stuff like that ahead of time, you definitely can prevent it. Let's see what else is here. Branton planaria are a real pain. They are, I guarantee it. Hey, buddy, Chris, how's it going? From Stubbs Aquatics. David, the dog dewormer works real well. Just a couple doses and gone. Very true. I have not had an issue since my initial dose. Branton, now the no planaria being a natural remedy derived from the roots still count towards keeping the tank natural? You know, that is a very good question, and I thought about that after. You know, it is a natural root, but is that the only ingredient in it? I don't know. I haven't really looked that far into it, but I would say it's probably more natural than using the Panicure C, which I did. But again, it's going to come down to what each individual hobbyist has at hand and what their opinions on a thing. Like I said, hindsight's 2020. If I go back to it, I probably would try the no planaria. But like I said, I have had no issues with the Panicure C though as well. I did hear lots of conflicting remarks about snails. A lot of people said that they're going to wipe out your snail population. A few of them said it's just going to be like your nerite snails and your mystery snails. I don't keep any of those besides pest snails, which are my kind of snails. And honestly, if they wiped a few of them out, I was going to be fine with it because my populations are so big, but they didn't touch any of my pest snails. My pest snails lived through all of it. But it is a good thing to know because I know someone did comment in that video as well about how the Panicure C does live in the substrate, or the one guy said maybe into the silicone a little bit, and it can leach out for a couple months later. So if you do use this, just be wary if you're going to add like a mystery snail, a nerite snail, or any of those other type of snails to your aquariums after that. I didn't treat all my tanks. I only treated the 4 that I found it in, found those planaria in. So if I would ever get into those different type of snails, I just wouldn't put them in those. But let's see. Stubbs, what if he used it in a resurrection jars? Would it kill everything? That's a good question. And I actually thought about that yesterday. Now, in the video, I explained that I probably got these things from my resurrection jar that was in that tank with that Montano rice fish, because that's the first place I found them. They probably spread from there because I put plants from tanks all over whenever they need. And that was one way I either transferred them from tank to tank, or I use like a no-no. I use the same net to dip duckweed out of all my tanks. Could have transferred it that way. So they came in through my resurrection jars, in my opinion. I would say it's 99.9% the reason. before I get into that question, Chris, I want to think more. I don't disagree with the food web and using them in your aquariums. I really like it. There's so many benefits from it, and not just feeding fish. And that's where I think the food web can kind of get confused sometimes. Yes, it's supposed to feed some of your fish and your smaller fish, but it's like a food for your entire ecosystem of your aquarium. So the little microorganisms, well, they're feeding on all the waste, and they break down the litter, the organic matter, and then that becomes food for your plants. So it's really a continuous cycle of food. So it's truly just not, I'm feeding my fish. You're feeding the entire tank. So I think it's really beneficial, and to be able to have that diversity of bacteria and organisms within your aquariums can really be beneficial health-wise as well. So I don't want to get away from it. I just want to find a way to be able to put the stuff in my aquariums without getting planaria in there. Now, I've had no other issues with any other organisms that I found in these jars. So I'm still going to continue it. I just got to find some other way to do it. Now, to get to your question, Chris, that was one of the things I thought about yesterday while I was answering some comments. Like, what if I could get an amount of either no planaria or whatever and treat a resurrection jar and then treat it again for eggs before you put it in there? I just don't, if it's a dewormer, it's going to kill worms and snails, any potential, but not the pest snails. Will the other organisms survive? I don't know. That might have to be a test I try, but that would be an excellent way to be able to still add these jars into your aquarium and not have to worry about planaria. Another idea I have right now is I have a 2.5 gallon little small tank. I'm thinking about making that a resurrection tank, sort of collecting in there and really letting it be. I can treat that and then keep an eye on it. And as that grows, the colonies of all the different organisms grow in there. I can take pieces of that out into my tanks and then still feed that tank with leaf litter as it breaks down and kind of build up the colonies and really keep an eye on stuff. So that's another idea I have to be able to do it. So I'm not steering away from the food web. I don't think the food web is bad. I think it's actually the opposite. It's great. It's just, for me, it's finding a way to do it without getting those planaria introduced to my aquariums again, because I don't particularly want to use meds in my tanks. So, Brenton, which for anyone watching that uses no planaria, but buy it while you can. The company Gensham, sorry, I mispronounced that, is no longer operational. Whatever is still out there for sale is all there is for the time being. Oh, did not know that. So that is a good thing to know. So if you need some of this, probably stock up on it a little bit now so you have it on hand. The only snail that survived no planaria after many uses is ram's horns. I have ram's horns, bladder snails, and my Malaysian trumpet snails. I really haven't seen a decrease of them in any of my tanks so far. Maybe the Malaysian trumpet snails a little bit. I have to think about that now that I'm thinking about that. My rainbow shiner tank, I did see them everywhere. I still do see them, but I don't know if they're in I can't speak, in the numbers that they were. So I'd have to look into that a little bit. Yeah. Also, no planaria will linger for months after treatment as well. So same scenario as the dewormer. Okay, so that's basically the same effects, except Panicure uses that fenbezinol. I can't pronounce the drug. And no planaria uses that root of that one, or whatever it is, but you know what I mean. So, good morning, GoTrack. Food web is important to all natural setups. It is, but it's fragile balance in our home aquariums. You're absolutely right. So, like I said, that kind of leads us into this. It's just like I feel that using meds sometimes, unfortunately, is warranted in these tanks because, like I said, we don't have the vast diversity of organisms and bacteria and everything that live in an outdoor body of water, a natural Mother Nature body of water. We don't have that in our aquariums. We thrive for it. We really do. We thrive to get as much of that as we can in here. But in the end, it's truly not going to happen unless you have tanks that are for years and years and years to be able to really do that. But our goals always are, at least in my opinion, is to try to thrive for that as close as we can. So, like I said, situational, unfortunately, I feel, in my opinion, everyone's opinion is different, but my opinion is that you can use stuff once in a while if you need to. Now, obviously, I shouldn't be like a panic and go dump a bunch of chemicals in my tank because I have green water or whatever the case may be. You know, you want to do your research. I said I am a research hound when it comes to situations that I really am interested in or looking in or might be in within my fish room. I will spend hours on YouTube and the internet reading and watching videos to try to learn as much as I can. That's the biggest thing anyone could probably take out of this. Well, this hobby in general is just knowledge. There's so much knowledge out there nowadays compared to like 20, 30 years ago that are like right at your fingertips that you can just look things up and try to research. Now, obviously, there's differing opinions on just about any subject there is, but that's where you take in the knowledge that you read from all different things and you kind of come up with your own conclusion of what is best case scenario for you in your situation. So so that's basically my take on it. I really feel like I said, like I said, it's situational. But anyway, if you didn't catch the beginning of the stream, I did name my live stream Beyond the Dirt, giving it a name, so it's official now. Like I said in the beginning, I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to like doing these live streams, and so I do. This, like I said, is still uncomfortable, as you could probably tell watching once in a while, talking to myself on here, but I love having guests on. Next week, NC Pleco Cavers will be on. And then on the 20th, Andrew from the Dirted Tank will be on and joining me. And then the week after that, I have Mike from MNC Aquatics joining me. If you're interested in hopping on this live stream and chatting with me, telling me your story, hit me up at patty'saquatics@gmail, or you can look me up on Facebook Messenger or even Instagram Messenger. The links to those social media sites are all on the description of my video, description of my channel, excuse me. So that's that. So, what else people up to today? Hey Keith, how you doing? From Aquatics Fanatics UK. Oh, so, what else do you guys want to talk about? Anything? Anyone got any questions? I guess we can go over. I covered a lot of this information a lot quicker than I thought I would today. I thought I'd be on the cancer talk for at least 20, 25 minutes, but my rambling made it go a little quicker. Oh. Well, I tell you what, since we're at a little lull, I want to show you guys a tank. It's one of my tanks that I am just in awe of, and that is my tank back here. It's my one I set up most recently. It's got my King Yama, I think it's orange red rice fish, Medaka rice fish that I got from LRB Aquatics. I set that one up, I don't know, a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, tops. Let me show you this thing. This thing is freaking fantastic. Bear with me. Oh, I remember how to switch the camera again. All right. These things are just, the plants in this tank have just exploded in the last like 2 weeks. The Ludwigia I've already trimmed twice. The plant up here, I think, I can never remember if that's Moneywort. I think that's Moneywort. Yes. That thing is just growing like nuts. I have a few crypts in here that are starting to take off a little bit. Those are always slower to get going, but I put some dwarf sage in the back, and the rice fish are doing great too, although they're hiding right now. They like to hide in the back. You can see a little one right there. Those are really cool too. Really enjoy that. Gortrack, how do you trigger your blue shiners to breed? Well, I haven't bred them yet. I haven't got into that quite yet. Let me see. I can show you that tank, but there's probably going to be a little bit of a glare, just so you know. Really, the flow from this wave maker, which we can talk about next, actually. because I've got a lot of good responses from this Waymaker. The flow itself has been huge. When I first set this tank up, it was very full of guppy grass and plants, and I didn't have any flow in here at all. And the shiners would hide a lot. They'd come out to feed, and that was it. But from my research of what I've seen, they like to breed over rocks, okay? And they love flow. So that's where that came in. Once I rescaped this tank and put flow in here, flowing up over these rocks, their colors immediately popped out. Now, I lost one somewhere around the way. I had 8 of them. Now I have 7. I had 4 male, 4 female. I believe I have 4 male and 3 female now. They're not really colored up this instance right now, but you can tell when they do. Um, the males turn like a bright red with all the colors, and the females' bellies get big. And what they do is they'll probably drop the eggs all over these rocks. Now, people who breed them, from what I've seen, if you want to save them, they like to predate on their young. So what they'll do is they'll put a container at the bottom of their tank with some rocks in, and then once they're starting to breed, they'll drop the eggs in that container, and then you can pull them and put them in another tank. I plan on trying to do that at some point with these guys, but I really have been trying to breed my white clouds more than anything right now. And I still want to try my Matano rice fish, which are over here in this tank now. Since I moved them, I haven't seen eggs on them anymore. So they're probably still getting used to this tank, but almost every day I would find eggs on them every morning on here. So I want to see if I can get those guys to breed as well. So that's really the setups with those. I can show you my rainbow shiner, not shiners, my white cloud minnows now. I've got about 10 of them in here. They're almost ready to go into the tank with all of them, all the adults now. They're big enough where they're not going to get eaten anymore. And then I plan on trying to breed some more of these guys, putting that breeding pair I have in this tank. Last time I did it, I put, what was it? This egg crate that I have here at the bottom with some rocks. And then I put the white clouds in there, let them in there for about a week, then got them out. And a couple weeks later, all of a sudden I saw little ones swimming everywhere. So my hopes are to do that again. So that is that. So we're back. So like I said, I have lots of plans and projects for the fish room here in the future, and really hope you guys enjoy it too, because I love trying to breed different projects of fish. It's always fun for me. My problem is I put too many projects on my plate at once. So like some of them go to the back burner, like the rainbow shiners. Like I didn't expect them to color up and start to be cool and really want to get in breeding mode like they were. But I was working on my white clouds at the time. Now, I successfully bred them, but I really want to try to breed them a little more because I want a bigger colony in my tank, because this coming next summer, I'd like to breed more of them. And then I also want to get to the rice fish. Now, I don't know how successful I'm going to be breeding these rice fish inside. I'm going to try it. So I'd like to get a colony of those outside next year as well. So, that's my breeding projects. It's fun to be able to have something you're doing in your fish room that always keeps you interested. Now, there's always something to keep you interested, but to be able to breed different types of fish and just kind of get that excitement of being able to successfully do it is fun. The trials and tribulations. This didn't work. Well, let's try this. And then when you actually are successful at it, it's really cool. So, and then of course I've got my breeding setups of my shrimp down at the bottom. Hey Keith, what's your favorite breeding project? Oh gosh. Like I said, I've got so many of them like that I've successfully bred right now have been the white clouds. I find those to be really cool. It was fun to be able to do it. Like I said, I did a lot of research on it and I found so many different ways to try to do it. I've got breeding pairs in 10-gallon tanks trying to breed. I've seen people successfully doing that. I really didn't have too much. But in the past, I bred, this is back before Patty's Aquatics, I had cichlids. I bred green, well, they're gold soms, not real, the false green terrors. I successfully bred them. That was cool. I used to breed peacock gudgeons. That was a cool thing to do, stuff like that. But like I said, right now it'd be the white clouds, but the ricefish and the rainbow shiners are next on my list. Crazy for Seahorses. Hey, how's it going? Since you already are talking about rainbow shiners, any tips for keeping them? Yeah, like I mentioned before, flow is huge. Like I said before, when I set that tank up, like I don't do dirt, or I don't do dirt. I don't do filters or air in any of my aquariums, so I don't have flow. I don't have flow in them, and um, I think that they didn't like it. Let's just say that they hid all the time. They were scared. The only time they would come out is to eat. They're very finicky. But once I rearranged that tank and did my research and took a lot of the plants out in the front and put rocks in there and put that flow to go across the tank, it was like night and day. They all of a sudden woke up. So they love flow. They absolutely love flow. It doesn't have to be like heavy flow, but at least a little bit of a current within that aquarium. It kind of, I can't explain it. Just having that little bit of flow made them come. As soon as I put it in there, they came out immediately, and they were like kids playing outside. It was like they loved it. And so I keep that in there now, and I keep it running 24/7, and they absolutely love it. And I believe it helps trigger their breeding as well. Like I said, I got nothing out of them, no color, no nothing, until I rearranged that tank and put that in there. And I do have a video on that. I can't remember what it's called, but I put it out this summer about changing escape for rainbow shiners. So check that out. That might help you a little bit. Let's see. Brett, and I'm getting some long fin white clouds in a couple of weeks as my next breeding project. I'm looking forward. That's cool. I seen your live stream that was yesterday. We were talking about getting some. I've been watching White Cloud Dynasty here and there, and he's really inspired me. Like with the rainbow shiners, I know my wife's cousin bought some of his rainbow shiners, which, by the way, probably one of the best rainbow shiners that you probably can find on this this earth. He's been breeding them so great color wise. It's awesome. But I love his white clouds. That kind of got me into the white clouds, so that's why I started with it. And some of his long fin ones are amazing. So yeah, that's cool. I would love to get long fin ones at some point too. I think they're really cool. Let's see. Magnus from Green Machine Sweden. He's been applying a background to your aquarium. Cool. What size tank? What are you doing with it? So they're a bit, crazy for seahorses. So they're a bit like white clouds. Yes, they're very similar. I don't have flow in my white cloud tanks, so I don't know if that makes a difference. This is the thing with the white clouds. I always read they're one of the easiest things to be able to breed, but I actually found them to probably be one of the more difficult ones as of yet, because from what I always heard, you just throw them in a tank and they're going to breed and you're going to have them. Like I had 10 adult white clouds in an aquarium, 29-gallon, heavily planted. See, how long was that? Probably at least 8 months. I never seen one baby. So I'm like, well, what's going on here? That's when I kind of did a little bit of research and digging into it and find out, well, they like to eat their babies. They like to eat their eggs. And that's why when I found White Cloud Dynasty, and he kind of explained the way he does it with his breeding pairs, or a trio or two pairs you'll put into like a 10-gallon tank. And he said he made it seem like the more fish that are in one tank, like that adult fish, the more of a feeding frenzy it would be for fry that would pop up, or eggs, where if you have a pair in there, you have more of a chance to be able to have a survival rate of the fry. Now, I haven't experienced that in my tank. When I first put those breeding pair in that 10-gallon, I found a bunch of babies all over fry stuck to the wall that were just hatched, but then they all disappeared except for 2 of them. They ate them all, and I haven't seen any since. Now, the planaria are probably part of the reason why maybe that wasn't happening, because they were everywhere in that tank. That's, like I said, that was one of the second tank I found them in, and I was just like, holy, they're everywhere. How did I not see this before? So And my other pair that I have down in my 10-gallon, I think I had one out of there. Now I've tried different ways of breeding them. Said I had the pair in there. I did it, try to do it community wise. Um, I got a little basket for putting plants in, which I've seen from Dean from Aquarium Co-op. He used in an old video where it fits directly into a 10-gallon tank. I tried it that way as well. So there's all different ways to do it. And like I said, in my 5-gallon, how I put the egg crate down to be able to have the eggs drop down to the bottom, then I remove the fish. So yeah, they definitely are egg eaters. Let's see. I think white clouds are such an underrated fish. They definitely are, Keith. I know I always read that they're the poor man's neon tetra, and when you see them as adults, they can be very colorful. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't really get that neon part until I seen the babies I have up here in that metallically blue that just shines and sparkles on them. They're very, very, very cool. Let's see, Branton, what's your experience with white clouds eating their eggs? I hear that can be a problem. Yes, like I just explained before, they love to eat. My problem was I'd see this pair that I have down here, and I know they're breeding because you see the male entice. They breed in the morning, so when the lights come on is when they first start to breed, and you'll see the male enticing the females into his spots, and it's not much longer. You're seeing them peck, 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 peck. And like I said, the one time that I was able to successfully see about 20 fry in the glass, that's when I noticed the female and the male, but mostly the female, up at the glass, boop, 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 eating them all. So yeah, they definitely are big predators. Maybe you can get some lines that are not as bad, perhaps. I don't know. Like I said, watching White Claw Dynasty, I don't know how he does it, but the only way I've been successful is putting them in that 5-gallon with the egg crate or some type of film at the bottom so the eggs can fall through. I have had a tiny bit of success in these, but it's only like 1 or 2, so not huge successes. But I mean, it's all a journey in this situation. That's what I love about this, is try to find ways to do it. And when you finally get it, it's like, yes. All right, Mr. G, hello, how's it going? All right, Magnus, I do not know gallons, but it's a 50. Oh, you don't know what gallons is. It's a 50-liter. What I will have in it there remains a secret. Okay, I get you there, buddy. Mr. G, I only grew the fry because I removed the adults to concentrate on shrimp. Yep. Oh, crazy for seahorses. Yes, they do look great under light. That's for dang sure. Hello there, Jeff from Empire of Dirt Aquatics. I'm awake now. You can start from the beginning. Well, I'll give you a rundown in a couple minutes. All right. So, yeah, it's been an interesting ride this last couple weeks with dealing with these planaria and the way of doing it. Like I said, I was leery of making the video explaining what I was doing, but I always said in the very beginning I would never hide anything in this hobby. I would show everything I did, good or bad. I don't think it benefits anybody by not showing what I actually did to get them and that I had them, because like, what does that do? I mean, I don't want this facade of this is all I do, because that's not the right thing to do. I think there's situations and things that warrant any type of use of anything within your aquariums if it need be, and up to every individual hobbyist. So that's that part. Now to touch back on, for those of you that might not have been here in the beginning, I explained that I started a fundraiser for the National Breast Cancer Foundation in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and explained the battle and story my wife has dealt with this summer with this disease, and that if you would be interested in donating to that fundraiser, it is through my Patty's Aquatics Facebook page. You can get to that either by going straight to Facebook. I have a post on my YouTube channel, so if you go to the community tab, that post will be down a little bit, but it's there. Or if you go to the description of my video, I have a link to my Facebook in there, and you can get to it, and that's where you can donate there. If I reach the goal of $500 for the National Breast Cancer Foundation, I have agreed I will shave my head and my beard bald, no hair, slick, shiny, like Mr. Stubbs over at Stubbs Aquatics. So that's my goal. If you guys can reach that, I will be gratefully honored. And just like I said, even if you can't donate money, just to have the thoughts or prayers for anybody that might be battling this disease is huge. And always remember to um, just encourage any of your family members really to do that preventative screening and stay on top of this stuff, because if you can catch any of this early, it can be huge. And like I said, my wife, I'm not going to say has it good, because cancer is not good at all, but at least she got it early. By getting it early, it's much easier to deal with it and handle it than if you catch it real late. So I very, very much very encourage is the word I'm looking for you to go check out, do your preventative testing and screening. And like I said, that can go for any type of disease in this world as well. Like I said, my family battles with colon cancer, and I going in for my first colonoscopy in a few weeks, so that'll be interesting, to say the least. But anyway, I will shave my head and my face, all of that, if we reach that $500 goal. The fundraiser does run till October 19th. So that live stream on the 20th, which I'll have Andrew from the Dirty Tank on, if we reach that goal, you'll see me with a bald head and beard. I will be like a shiny little baby. Anyway, like I said, if you didn't catch the Father Fish live stream that I had 2 weeks ago, I am making that into a 4-part series of videos that'll start coming out on Friday. And I did that with Father Fish's blessing. Kind of touching on some of the more important subjects during that live stream. I mean, I had a hard time breaking it down just into 4. Like I said, it'll be about his method, about the food web, about his no water change opinion, and also about why he thinks we shouldn't use fertilizers. So that'll be the 4 things that I'll be touching on in those videos, sharing from that live stream. Next week, Sunday, I have NC Pleco Cavers coming on, and I'll have him on, and we'll talk a little bit about him and his journey, his young journey in this hobby. I think that's very cool. I love to hear a young YouTuber like himself. Like I said, the 20th, I have Andrew from the Dirty Tank. And then on the 27th, I have Mike from MNC Aquatics. So if you are interested on hopping on my show and tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing, hit me up at pattysAquatics@gmail, or hit me up at Facebook or Instagram on my messengers, and we can schedule something. Like I said, you don't even have to be a creator. If you are a home breeder or a local fish store owner, any of that stuff, come on and show me what you got. Show us what you're selling. Show us your tank. You got a cool story or cool setups you just want to explain. Come on, hit me up, and let's set something up and just share it all. So that's what I'm up to. I really would like to. I enjoy doing these live streams. It's still a little weird doing it by myself. So I love doing the interview parts. I love talking to other people. So that's the plan. So let's see. Let's check the chat one more time here. Magnus, you will look good hairless. I don't know. We'll see about that. Let's just say if I shave my head and beard, I'm not going to be hairless. I'll just be hairless on my head. Thank you, Nona, for the strength and healing to your wife. I appreciate that very much. All right. The Lost. So please pray for my neighbor Seth. You got arrested today for growth. Okay, I'm not doing that. I thought it was something for cancer. Not doing that. All right. Anyway, so do you keep your eyebrows? Yes, I said I'm not getting rid of my eyebrows. That'd be a little weird. But we'll do this. If we reach $700, if we exceed that goal and hit 700, then I'll shave my eyebrows off. But only then. So anyway, I think we'll yeah, I do. We need more mods. I'm sorry I didn't do that. Let's remove it now. Here, Branton, you can be one. I don't know how to work this all works. I know I have Maul as a moderator. I just haven't got around to hitting other people. When I start chatting on here, I keep chatting and I don't realize what's going on. No, no, Mr. G, I won't be doing that. That's it. Anyway. All right. Well, live. No, I'm not going to do that live, buddy. I might attract the wrong audience. I really don't want that audience. Let's see here. Well, we got a couple people on here. Let's give some people some wrenches. All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up here. It's been an hour. I try to keep these things around an hour. I've been rambling on long enough. Yeah, there is a different live stream service for that, Keith. It's called OnlyFans. Anyway, so come back next Sunday if you want. Like I said, we got a cool show going on with NC Pleco Cavers, and I've got every Sunday I've got a live stream set up, and then next Sunday also at night I'll be joining Jim on Happy Place Aquatics. I'll be a guest on his show, so check that out as well. And if you can, like I said, donate to that fundraiser of mine and help out the Breast Cancer Awareness Month and everyone that's involved in it. And with that, thank you very much for joining me. And always remember to think outside the box and take a step back into nature. Hope to see you next Sunday here at Beyond the Dirt. See you later, guys.